worse, the security systems in the private apartments had failed to detect the intruders, which apparently baffled the installers, who were brought in to check and advise. As far as any further security was concerned, there were 2 gun dogs and Pamela's dachshund on the premises, but they were kept in what was described as a boot room at the rear overnight, and if they'd barked, no one had heard them. This was understandable, as castles are large, and Daws and his wife's accommodation, an extensive apartment, was situated on what he had always referred to as the top floor of a wing added in his great-grandfather's time. Not quite correct, as above that there were equally extensive attics. On the ground floor there were additional private rooms, although the general public was allowed to look into them from the doorways that were used for large-scale entertaining at Christmas and when Pamela hosted meetings and receptions for the various charities with which she was involved. Eventually, when the police had released Daws' body a few weeks later, no further in their investigation, the funeral, which we attended, took place, followed by interment in the family vault in the pretty parish church. It was a surprisingly small and muted affair in the village of Hartwood that had, over the centuries, grown up around the castle. This was situated on what had obviously been regarded as a strategic spot on the South Downs. We were told that, in several months' time, there would be a memorial service in London. All this was in the public eye. It had been made known that the NCA was liaising with Sussex Police, but nothing had been said about the fact that the security services had been immediately involved, a fact revealed to me by Patrick. This insider knowledge had come from Commander Michael Greenway, Patrick's immediate boss. Greenway then hinted to me in a conversation when I had rung him about a routine matter that there were also other undercurrents that ran dark and deep. He had given no details. Patrick had been asked if he would act as one of the pallbearers, a great honour, and proof that one person at least was aware that he had been Daws' protégé. I had an idea that Pamela, Lady Rowallan, whom we'd met on several occasions, might have been behind this, as she was fully aware that the apprenticeship had been an extremely tough one. But no mention of this was made when we were invited by her to go to the castle after the funeral, although I noticed that she'd given my husband a very warm smile when she first caught sight of him. A simple service, then, in a country church. Daws had served his country well during a long career. He had been older when he had died than I had thought, 69, and had been brought to an end in a vicious and calculated manner. But I still wept a few tears for Jordan, who had died with him. His funeral had taken place a week earlier, somewhere in the north of England. Ashes to ashes, dust to dust. Later, I rather felt that Marcia Lindisland— why was she present when the rest of the mourners gave every impression of being mostly friends and family, whom I had not met before, was behaving as though she was some kind of guest of honour. With the benefit of height, she was around 6 feet tall, wore a large hat more suited to Ascot Ladies' Day, and towered over just about everyone present. Dressed all in black for the occasion, and seemingly prone to utilising dramatic body language, here was someone who expected to be the centre of attention. "Just your sort of female," Patrick whispered to me wryly. Why is it that one sometimes dislikes a person on sight? But the moment passed. We stayed for as long as politeness demanded, chatting to people we didn't know, and then made a move to depart. "You will come and see me, won't you?" Pamela said quietly as we took our leave of her. "I really mean it. I'm not just making polite noises. I'd like to talk to you about what happened." We promised her that we would. The gathering was being held in the large beamed sitting room in the private apartment, and people had spilled out into an area that was almost as big at the head of a wide staircase.